Today we have Tom Pawlak, who's kindly agreed to answer questions about his life and about his interaction with the ocean and the marine environment. Welcome, Tom, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we'll start off with the first question, and just to give people a little bit of an introduction and background to you. You're originally from Poland. Mm-hmm. You were brought up in Germany at quite a young age, and then relocated to Toronto in Canada, after which you studied in the UK in the acting and theatrical field.
I studied in Toronto, and I ended up in London at a summer workshop, like an intensive Shakespeare workshop, because I had this great idea to play in the Globe Theatre.
So do you think that amount of travel, you know, at an early age has had an impact on your sort of perspective on life today?
Absolutely. Growing up in three different, like completely different countries, you do acquire a different perspective on life with a general set of values that are, you know, accustomed to that particular social environment. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because when you look at me growing up in Poland, this in the mid '80s, and it was communist, and so that's a completely different culture. Whereas then after being in West Germany, and Germany has its own way of living, and also fused with the American culture. And then going to Canada, which is on its own like
another story unto itself.
Absolutely. Yeah, being able to experience all these three extremes at a young age, I think that's what got me where I am right now.
Is there one characteristic that you have from the extent of travel?
Yeah, we tend to travel a lot. We tend to feel at home. We find order in chaos. I was actually saying that to someone.
I like that. Let's move to the second question.
Yes, sir.
Tom, what would be your ideal lifestyle?
My ideal lifestyle. I think the one I'm living right now, except if my bank account had 2 extra zeros behind it. Absolutely.
Only 2. That's very modest, I think.
I don't ask for much.
For the sake of clarity, just give us a brief description of what
my
your
bank
lifestyle
account?
is at the moment.
Of my lifestyle, of my bank account. What I do, okay, I am living the life that I like to live. I'm in transit. I'm in a warm environment. I'm sailing. What I'd like to do is in the next few years get my sailing skipper's license and see if I can become a delivery captain, charter captain. It's so funny because these are dreams of like northern people from Toronto, from this profession down here. It's like it's so common. There are so many people who do that or do that on the side or anything. Wednesday, I'm flying to South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, meeting this wonderful captain and his wife, and we're bringing their boat. We're sailing their boat to the Keys. And then right after that, an old cap I was working with a year and a half ago, Dunbar, fantastic guy. We are flying to New Jersey, and we're going to take a boat from New York and sail it down to the Keys again.
Yeah.
So the wheels are turning.
Fabulous. Great. Mm-hmm. Do you think currently the oceans are under pressure from our current sort of use and practices?
Absolutely. Overpopulation and exhaustion of, of our resources,
Hmm.
and the oceans are not bottomless.
Right.
Um, they, you know, mass fishing, mass hunting, irrigation, agriculture is
Yeah.
straining um, our ocean, which is, involved with everything.
But what's your sort of favorite aspect of, being on the sea or being associated with the sea and the ocean?
Um, a lot of stuff. I think this also has to do something with all the constant travel during childhood. I love the waves and the rocking of the boat, and gives your entire body and your perception a kind of a rest.
Yeah.
And the salt, it it's like salt baths when they take out all the toxins out of your body, and I feel it's very therapeutic physically and mentally.
One of
Is that a good
the
answer?
yeah, it's,
Okay. Was that the answer you were looking for? It was
there's
like,
no wrong answer.
yeah.
That's whatever comes out is what it is. Have you ever tried scuba diving, or is it something that's on your list?
Peter, I got the best scoop. How much time do we have?
No.
Because I'm going to tell you my scuba diving story,
Yeah.
and it um, it goes back to St. Martin's. So, I after leaving England, I went to Fort Lauderdale to pursue life as a worker on as a deckhand on yachts. And the way it works is you go to Fort Lauderdale around October, between October and December, and you network, you work hard, and then you end up getting a job on one of these yachts. Now, I didn't get a job on one of these yachts, so I'm going to go to the Caribbean. So I went to St. Martin's, and in St. Martin's, I started day working like on
Yeah.
these yachts, and I heard a lot of times people saying, "Yeah, it's good to have a dive master. It's good to have a dive master. You'll get a job on a yacht if you have a dive master." I have never dived before, other than sticking my head underwater.
Yeah.
Um, so I said, you know what? I got to go get this dive master. So I went to a diving school just in St. Martin's, just across the street from Simpson Bay. If you've ever been there, it's just
No.
this one little soul house on the beach. And I said, hi, I would like to get my dive master. I know it costs this much. Here's the money. And they're like, hold on, how many dives have you done? I'm like, oh, none, but I'll sign up for your, like, I don't know, 1 week course, 2 week course. He's like, oh, you've never dived. You've never dived before. Well, you know what you should do? You should go and do one dive. And then what they told me was you can do one dive today, and if you feel comfortable going further,
Yeah.
today's dive will count towards your like PADI dives. So I was really excited. I went there, watched the video. Then they gave us the masks and
The regulator.
the regulator. I'm so bad
I
because I
know. Yeah.
don't know
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know the terminology. So I'm like, the breathing thing,
Yeah.
because they kind of blocked it out of my head. Um, and they gave us that and said, okay, and we went about waist deep into the water. And they said, oh, yeah, try it on, put in the breathing upper, the respirator, and put your head underwater and start breathing. And I'm like, uh, you want me to do what? And for some reason, I had a mental block, and I put my head underwater, but I couldn't start breathing,
Yeah.
and I was afraid to. And then but I kind of said, okay, I'll get that over with. And so I said, yeah, I did it. Let's go. And we went on this dive, and then I went in, and as soon as I couldn't hold my breath anymore, I started breathing, so everything was fine. I'm like, okay, I can do this. But the mouthpiece was digging into my gum. So I went in and I dove, and I was scared throughout the whole thing. This thing was digging in my mouth. I was too scared to do that because the diving instructor was like, "Oh, so you're going for a patty? I'm gonna if I'll show you some maneuvers to do." So one of them was like to take out your
Yeah.
respirator and then put it back in underwater. And I was like, there is no way I'm pulling anything out of my mouth and putting it back in underwater and then attempting to breathe. So I never ended up going again for the
Okay.
dives. I said, forget this, scuba diving is not for me. But now down the line that it's been about 3 years, 2.5 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And I have some friends just who throughout this duration ended up getting their patties and dive masters, and I'm like, they're not better than me. So
I think we're probably going to get you sort of that scuba certification at some stage.
absolutely, I mean, I want in. I don't want that
Yeah.
to be a club that I'm not a member of.
So there's always one tricky question thrown
Mhm.
in there, Tom.
Yeah,
What is your attitude towards plastic, given the current sort of quantities that we're seeing in the ocean?
that's obviously horrible, terrible, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at how much plastic we use, it's even though we say we don't we care, like we don't really give a I mean, like, look, gloves. This whole COVID pandemic is. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be um, Everest sizes of piles of latex gloves and masks
Yeah.
decomposing for the next thousands of years. Um, and I mean, it's sad with these particles that are found that marine biologists find in fish.
Yeah.
And when I was crossing the Atlantic um, from West Palm Beach to Barcelona on a yacht to work the the Mediterranean season, we were in the middle of the ocean, and I was out on deck. It was my turn to do watch, and I looked out on the I was looking out on the water trying to see like some kind of sea life, and I just saw like a bottle of a plastic water bottle,
Yeah.
and this was in the middle of the Atlantic. This was in the middle of the Atlantic, like
Yeah.
right there. There was a plastic bottle, so it is an impact that we need to address.
Your video commercial fishing in the North Pacific was
Yes,
very
sir.
revealing. Do you think that people are getting the message, and are they acting, on sort of information that is being put out there on the internet?
Honestly, I didn't really after this experience. I didn't really become too involved in this issue. It was something I experienced personally and thought it would people should be made aware of this. I contacted a few media sources. I didn't really hear back. One of the crew on the boat, um, after learning that I worked in the yachting industry, and he was really keen on learning more about it. And one of the things that he said that stayed with me is the fact that the fishing industry is going to end. It's going to end because the oceans will be just drained from fish because of commercial fishing. And that got me thinking because the boat that I was on um, could carry 450,000 pounds of fish. And if you think about this, 450,000 pounds of fish being, that's a load of fish being pulled
Yeah.
out of the ocean. And then I learned that that boat was the smallest of a fleet of three, not to
Right.
mention the ones that the defects or the wrong fish that were caught.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
all, the mammals that are caught, the other non-fish.
Yeah. What one measure would you like to see governments implement for ocean protection?
You know, after this trip, I stopped eating fish. Like
Yeah.
when I see or smell fish now, I just see this um, fish holocaust. So I would be for just banning commercial fishing
Right.
and for I
That's
don't know, like a year or two.
that's a pretty major sort of step. I'm sure there'd
I
be an
mean,
awful
but the
lot of
thing is,
people
it's
upset. Do you
mhm.
have a personal goal for 2020 in relation to sailing?
In relation to sailing 2020. I have actually just achieved the goal, like one goal. And I don't think the goals that I want to achieve can be achieved in 2020 because they'll take a little longer. I want to get my sailing skipper's license,
Okay.
and that's going to take. I'm thinking that's going to take 2020 and a little bit of 2021
Okay.
in order to get. But what the goal that I did achieve was that despite the complications with the state of the world right now, I was able to come to Florida, contact some captains who are willing to mentor me because schools and courses are closed, and this is like so much better anyway to
Excellent.
get this kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Great. Great.
experience.
The final question, Tom, is
Mhm.
which country would you like to visit by boat and why?
Which country would I like to visit by boat? Oh, what I think would be really cool is in the near future to sail around the Greek islands.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I just from looking at pictures of these, it's just something, and reading of Odysseus and seeing those
Yeah.
reading those myths. I'd love to experience that.
Yeah.
When I'm thinking about like mooring, going on anchor, and then going to eat
I
at
know. I know. Well, this is.
some.
I think that's most people's perception of the joys of sailing in the Mediterranean.
I've heard stories. People told me about like the yacht week in Croatia or something,
Yeah.
or they would stop they would anchor at some or go dock at some island um in a village, and the villagers would come out with like a table and tablecloths and like
Yeah.
prepare dinner for you. That I think that's something like out of this world.
Well, listen, Tom, I
Yes, sir.
really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us tonight.
It was a pleasure.
And I wish you all the best with your plans and with the sailing trips you've already got set up. And we look forward to hearing more from you later on.
Yes, I'm going to start an Instagram page that will be called Great Blue Escapes, and I'll be interviewing the captains and the sailors that I'm working with, and I'll be posting that. So I'll let you know all about that.
That account is already set up, if I'm not mistaken.
That is a website right now.
Right.
greatblueescapes.com.
Uh,
Thanks so much, Peter. Have a great Saturday night.
All right, man. You too. Thanks very much indeed.
Ciao. Thank you.
Bye bye now.
Adios.